My name is Diane Ravitch, and I have for many, many years been a historian of education. In the last 10 years, I've become an activist on behalf of public schools and the importance of public education in a democracy. And this was a big change from where I was before then. I'm concerned about the assault on the teaching profession. I'm concerned about the idea that has been spread by Teach for America that anyone can teach, and that 5 weeks of training in the summer is enough to make you a great teacher, which is not true. I believe in teachers' unions. I didn't always, but I certainly do now, because I understand that teachers alone can't change anything, but teachers who are organized and have a union have a voice at the table. When you don't have a union, you have no voice at the table. I have seen, and I've heard about good charters. Good charters meaning that they don't screen the kids, they don't select, they don't have high attrition, and they're really trying to do the best thing. There are people that I know, friends of mine have children who run charters, and they say, my charter's different, my charter does enroll all kids. It still troubles me, however, to think that we might fund two separate school systems, because the good charters, and there are some, create cover for the bad charters. And I have seen so many examples of people who've become charter creators, charter founders, who are not educators. And they see it as an opportunity to get free public money and then to have no accountability. For me, the great failing of the billionaires, aside from their arrogance in thinking that they are somehow entitled to reinvent education without paying attention to the people who do the work, is that they've changed the subject. The subject to me is, what do we do about the dramatic inequality in our society? We've now had almost 20 years of annual testing of every child in grades 3 through 8, and no high-performing nation in the world does this. And we have seen virtually no gain as a result of it. In the early years, there was some gain because there was so much test prep that it increased scores. But we have, over the past dozen years, seen scores go completely stagnant. I now understand, because I've grown old and hopefully have learned a few things, I was really good at standardized tests. I thought they were great. They worked for me. And it was only much later in life, and I would say in the last decade or so, that I've come to understand that standardized tests themselves are a social construction of very limited value. When kids take standardized tests, it teaches them that there's only one right answer, and that's a bad lesson. And when we use standardized tests to judge children, we stigmatize them unless they're at the top. And standardized tests, in my view today, have become a way of adding to the privilege of those who are already privileged. Our vision is now warped by believing that children should be ranked, that schools should compete, and that schools should be closed if they don't compete, because we're closing, in many cases, good schools in very tough neighborhoods where the teachers are doing a great job, and yet the school is closed. And so I think that the real question that we as a society are facing, the real question, is, are we willing to pay the cost of having a good education system, recognizing that almost half the kids in this country are, by federal definition, living below the poverty line, that an enormous number of them have special needs, and that it costs money to address all of those needs. Are we willing to pay teachers a professional salary and to have a teaching profession? Or do we want to just keep skimping and pretending that choice and testing are somehow a substitute for genuine social and political action?